And the Phillies keep rolling along. 5-0 shutout win over the Houston Astros. They take the series, their third series win in their last 4 series. Pretty good, on pace for 96 wins at 78-54. This is Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr., John Kruk coming in a moment. Your impressions of this well-pitched and well-hit game.
Aaron Nola dealt. That's the bottom line. Aaron Nola dealt. They obviously got a big 3-run homer by Nick Castellanos early on that ball game. But what Aaron Nola was able to do and just really squash this very good Astros lineup tonight, the fastball command was outstanding. And it's funny, Ruben and I were talking, this guy's he basically just squashed his changeup. Doesn't throw his changeup anymore. But yet his curveball is just something he can go to over and over and over. And there's 3 or 4 different variations of this curveball. And his willingness to throw it behind, I saw him flip a couple 2-0 tonight. Like it's nothing. And it's just fun to watch. And again, someone else I would love to have caught.
Yeah, got Altuve on one. What do you think?
I just think it was a great, clean baseball game. These guys played really, really good baseball. And when they're playing quality baseball, they're catching the ball. I mean, obviously it starts with the starting pitcher. The starting pitching has been outstanding over the last 4 or 5 games. I love the way they've thrown the ball. But when you do that and you work quickly and you throw strikes, you can play good defense. And they're also you're having quality at bats. You're getting like decent at bats like throughout the lineup, and it's a little somebody different every single night, which is what's happening in the very first month and a half, 2 months of the season when they were playing better than everybody on the planet. I just like the quality of the baseballs being played right now.
Let's go across the street for the crossover and check in with Phillies Wall of Famer John Kruk. John, baseball is such a vibe game. It really is. You don't know what's going to happen one day to the next. 1 minute they're struggling, they're losing 15 out of 20, and the next day they've won 9 out of 13 in 4 straight, John. The vibe's going up, isn't it?
I have no idea what you mean by that.
I mean, the
vibe.
Yeah, the vibe, the atmosphere, the character, the clubhouse, clutch hitting, clutch pitching, Aaron Nola. I thought all of a sudden he'd lost his hearing. I saw a little blood coming from his ear. I didn't know.
You're way too old to use the word vibe.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Okay,
got it.
So let the younger kids do it. Ben, you can say it. Ruben, no. But
okay,
yeah,
so what do you think?
You know, look, Michael, the vibe is great. And you know, I heard Ben say it, and Ruben both said it. They just have played clean baseball in the last 4 games, and that is why they look like the team that was the first half team instead of the second half team, and they're really it's just fun to watch when they're playing like this. And of course, you know, it all starts with Aaron Nola, and you know, when you have a guy like Nola who goes out there and he understands, you know, where the Phillies are at right now. It's, you know, it's basically down the stretch, a little less than a month left to go in the season, and it's time to start pushing to get to that postseason and hopefully go deep into October. But Aaron was great. His fastball, consistent. I heard Ben say he changed speeds on his breaking ball, and it's like 4 different pitches. And that's how good it was tonight. And when he pitches like that, you give him a few runs, and thank goodness Nick gave him 3. That's basically all he needed, because they weren't going to score off of him.
John, it's almost like this bullpen said, you know what, we've had enough. We went through a spell, just much like the rest of the ball club, but in this 4-game winning streak, the bullpen has thrown 14 innings, just 7 hits, and 2 earned runs. You can't say enough about what they've done, correct?
No, and, you know, you got to give Ruiz a lot of credit. He's in the middle of this thing now, and, you know, with Soto and Sir Anthony gone, they, you know, for the trade with Baltimore, they needed someone to step in, because you can't rely on Hoffman and Strom every night, and so, you know, some of these other guys had to pick it up. Kirkering's been really good. Ruiz has been fantastic, and it's just a total bullpen effort by these guys. Tanner Banks been really good, and you know, this is how you win games, because starters don't finish games. We know that. Phillies, some of the Phillies guys do. They have a few, but when you depend on the bullpen that much, you can't depend on the same arms every single night. It's just not the way the bullpen's used. And now it's top to bottom. These guys are coming in and dealing, and it's got to be pure, you-know-what, for the opposition, the way the bullpen's throwing the ball. Maybe they just got tired of not pitching well. Sometimes anger works.
John, with a team that has this kind of talent, there's always a great amount of scrutiny on the manager. Talk about how important it is to have the steady hand of Topper and how he goes about his business when they're going through the tough spell, how he handled it, and what he means to this ball club.
Well, all you can ask from a manager, if you're a player, Ruben, is consistency. Are you consistent? And Rob Thomson has been consistent since he took over for Joe Girardi. And he's not going to change. Look, we're fans. All of us are fans. Yes, we might have played, but we're fans. And, they lose a couple in a row, and you're like, oh, my gosh, the world's coming to an end. We're never going to win another game. The Braves are going to catch us. We might not even make the playoffs. Oh, my, that's the way fans are. If Rob Thomson was like that, he wouldn't be here right now. They'd have fired him a long time ago. He has to be consistent because as a player, when you get into these funks, sometimes you start wondering, you think we'll ever win another series? And because Rob's calm, because he's consistent, with what he does in the clubhouse before games, during games, in the dugout, and then after games in the clubhouse, the players don't panic because he doesn't panic.
But, John, respectfully, end of July to the beginning of August, they lost 6 straight. Then they won 3 or 4, and then they lost 4 straight. And we all, including yourself, we all expressed concern about the future for this team. What was befalling this team? And I don't know what it was, but they seemed to pull out of the nosedive.
Well, Michael, the Phillies aren't going to go anywhere because Bryce isn't hitting for power. He's getting a couple hits every night, but
sure is.
you need him to hit homers, and I know that's something that doesn't sit well with you, Michael, that he hasn't hit a homer in a while. But I promise you this: he will hit another one this year. Well, I'm going out on a limb.
No, he's going to hit one tomorrow, John. That's what you said. In this series. Don't think I forgot that, my friend.
It's like a steel trap.
I said to Ruben and Ben tonight, we're watching the game in the press box, and they scored that first run by getting a double and knocking them in. And I said, this is as exciting to me as a home run. It just is. You watch the guys run the bases. You watch the ball plays, hit them where they ain't. I think that's great. The only thing I was pointing out about Harper, and it was probably mistimed, is he hasn't had a home run in 16 games, John. That's the longest power drought of the season. That's all. Probably, like I said, probably misplaced, but there it is. You're the greatest. I got to go. I'd like to stay and talk. I know you want to stay here.
No, not really. Really. I'm thinking about 2 ice picks and puncturing both eardrums so I don't have to listen anymore.
Okay.
But we do love you, Michael.
Yeah, back at you.
You're a fan, and you panic.
I am.
We, Ruben, Ben, and Ricky, and we get concerned. You panic.
Well, me and Phillies Nation, let me tell you, everybody feels the same out there. You know that. We're just trying to make sure that everybody's calm and it's going the way we think it's going to.
I think they're fine now. I think they're okay.
Yep, 30 games left.
Thank goodness they're beating a good team because, my God, we couldn't beat a good team ever.
That's true.
What a joke that is. That's a joke, Michael.
I know. You can only play who's in front of you. Okay. Here's serious now. I've got to go. John, we'll see you tomorrow, 3:30. I'm looking forward to it already. I'll be right.
3:30?
Yeah, 3:30. It's an afternoon game.
Boy.
4 o'clock start.
Might have to set my alarm.
Right to sleep. John Kruk joining us in the booth tonight. Take a look at the National League East standings. He's the greatest, the Wall of Famer. Phillies 6.5 up with the Braves playing at Minnesota. And they're now up 4-0 last check, so that's going to go to 6. And these wins are even more important now with the Braves keeping pace. 6.5, I like it. 6 is fine too. Mets, Nationals, Marlins. Don't think the Braves, Ben, are just going to turn up and turn over.
They're not going to go anywhere. That's the bottom line. They still have a little bit of pitching left. They do have some thump in that lineup. We know the year that Ozuna's having. Michael Harris hit a 424-foot home run tonight. This is a ball club that they're not going to go anywhere, and they've been through this before. They have obviously a litany of injuries, but they're still a good ball club, and they're not going to go anywhere.
But he's 3 pitches and he's dealing, and that was just another great performance against the Astros, and he's sort of owned the Astros in his career.
4-0 in the regular season against Houston is Aaron Nola. He's 12-6 this season, gets that 12th win, 3.30 ERA. Been in 27 starts, but in particular, these last 3, he seems like he is at another level, and 2 3-2 wins and a 5-0 win.
Yeah, he has taken it to a different level. And from an offensive standpoint, and Ruben can attest to this, if you're sitting in the batter's box and you have a 2-0 count, and you're sitting dead red, and all of a sudden you see a curveball, you go, really, dude? No, you're supposed to throw me a fastball. It's 2-0. I'm getting a fastball. Flips that in there, and you're thinking, okay, 2-1. Now he's got to throw me another curveball, and then he goes 94 down and away, or 92 down and away. Doesn't matter. He's painting it down and away. Then you're like, and then it's 2-2, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? That's not the way you're supposed to pitch. That's not the way guys have done it. The other thing is, this curveball, a lot of guys are relying on lateral movement. So if you're a sinker slider guy, you get one ball that goes east, another ball that goes west with the slider. If he has a curveball that pops out of his hand, guys don't throw the 12-6 curveball anymore, and sometimes you can get around it, and it has a little bit more tilt to it. Otherwise, it has a big hump in it. Guys just aren't used to seeing that pitch anymore. They're just not.
And he commands it so well, and he throws it in situations where you're not expecting it. You're thinking fastball, you get the curveball.
And one of the most impressive things about him is his consistency. I mean, we talk about, you want him to throw 7 or 8 innings of, shutout baseball all the time. Well, he's going to give up home runs. You want to know why? Because he leaves pitches in the middle every once in a while because he throws so many strikes. And, he's one of those guys that doesn't give in. He'll throw strikes. And so as a hitter, you're looking for pitches in the zone. So he'll give up some home runs. The key for him is his consistency, his ability to bounce back when he has a tough inning, to come back and get those outs and to eat up innings. And he's done that very, very well over the last 10 years.
To the clubhouse and check in with Rob Thomson on tonight's win.
He really attacked, and his curveball was really good. He touched 94, was through strikes. In the 5th inning, I thought maybe he was not attacking the hitters like he normally does. And I went down and just to see if he was okay, and he said, I got to get ahead. I got to attack these guys, and that's what he did in the 6th and 7th, and it was really good.
You sent him back out there for the 7th at 93. How much leeway are you giving him there, and what does it say that he was so efficient to get out of that 7th?
Yeah, he was just attacking, and probably I told him I'd cap him at 105 because the next start's on regular rest, so he got it done.
And how important was that, getting 7 out of him? We might not have had your full bullpen.
Yeah, it's huge because we have been working those guys over a little bit, so it was great to get some length out of them, and Ruiz and Banks threw the ball great.
What was Ruiz upset with after the 8th inning? Him and Dubon seemed to be going back and forth about something.
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of it.
Castellanos, big swing there. I mean, he's been pretty consistent now for 20 months, it seems.
Yeah, he's been really good, really balanced at the plate, and he's taking the fastball the other way, and if they hang a breaking ball, he's hitting out of the ballpark, it seems. So really good at bats from him, really good at bats.
You were asked a lot earlier this season, like why you're going to keep playing him, why you're going to give him a break. Looking back at it now, like why do you think you decided to keep running him out there every single day despite him struggling?
Because I trust him. I mean, I know he can hit. And it'd be one thing if he didn't work at it and show me that he didn't care. He cares, and he works at it. And I know that there are times when he doesn't look good, but there are times when everybody doesn't look good. So he really works at it, and I'm happy for him that he's had this turnaround.
Do you think hitting in the middle of the lineup, like more 5th, has suited him better? It feels like he's more in the middle of the action there.
Well, you got to earn it first, and he's earned it. So that's just the way it works.
minus that Atlanta series, you guys have won 9 of your last 13. Do you feel like you're out of that struggle that you were in for several weeks?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that a little bit differently, but I think we're playing better baseball, and I'll leave it at that.
Perfect example of a guy who, you think about what he has on the back of his baseball card, because he struggled so much, as Ben said earlier, and you knew at some point he was going to click. And I mean, he's becoming the hitter that we all expect him to be. He's been super productive, and even when the Phillies were really struggling, he was still swinging the bat pretty darn well.
Mm-hmm. We're going to hear from Nick Castellanos coming up a little bit later in the program. What do you think it's like having all those coaches being so supportive for him?
He does get some doozy of some answers, doesn't he?
Good ones.
The answer is, quote, what's the alternative? Having coaches that aren't? Said it like Jack Nicholson, too. What do you think? Okay, let's hear from Aaron Nola, tonight's winner, 5-0. Here's Aaron Nola, clubhouse.
Gets to the ninth for the most part. Is that what the strategy against them? Just trying to set the tone against that lineup?
Yeah, it's a really good lineup. I've faced them several times the past few years, and I know them as hitters, and they know me, what I have as a pitcher. So it just came down to executing my pitches and really trying to stay out the middle of the zone. And they hit a couple good pitches, but also some balls over the plate.
How important was it for you to get through that 7th inning?
Important. It's been a while since I finished 7. Yeah, I feel like it was much needed, but it was good to get through the 7th and only have to use 2 pitchers right there to finish the game.
You and Zach pitching well these first 2 nights, did it kind of feel important to be able to carry that momentum forward here to begin the homestand against a couple of contending teams?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. To get this series win right here is big, and we can go out tomorrow and try to get a sweep, and it's big to come back to this homestand after a road trip, and especially against these guys to win a series and hopefully go for a sweep tomorrow and keep it rolling.
You've seen the ups and downs of Nick Castellanos over the last couple of years. What do you think of the turnaround he's able to put together this series?
Good, man. Cassie, he's always working. He's always hitting. To me, he's taking really good at bats is what I see. And once Cassie gets hot, he gets hot. So we've all seen that. But he's always working. He's always positive. And to me, that's a big thing. Always being positive and having a confidence no matter how things are going.
Aside from tonight's game, and you're very much about the team, but you're now in sole possession of 7th in franchise history for wins. Does that hold any significance for you?
It's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like I didn't know that until a little bit earlier after the game. So it's pretty cool. Kurt, obviously, is an unbelievable pitcher, and it's just cool to be up there with him and those guys. But, I mean, that's all good stuff at the end of the day, but I just want to win for the team and get back to where we want to get back to the World Series. So that's kind of the only thing on my mind.
Thanks.
Who had seen extended time on the IL, making just his 2nd start since his return. 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and you kind of saw the way it was going to go, Benny, didn't you?
You did. He did touch 95 a couple times, but a litany of sliders and curveballs after that, and he just didn't have that command, and he left that big one to Nick Castellanos, who goes up top for that 3-run homer. But it's 41 years old.
Yeah, but on the
41.
one hand, you're thinking it's Justin Verlander. On the other hand, you're thinking he's not pitching like Justin Verlander.
Father Time is undefeated, Michael.
That's a good point. I think you just don't see the life on the fastball that he once had, and that high fastball that he used to make guys chase so consistently, and then drop the hammer on those guys from that high fastball, and it was tough to distinguish. Doesn't have the same sort of stuff. He's more of a 5-inning pitcher now. Still a great competitor. He's up there, doing his best to try to keep, the Houston Astros in the game, and he did for by and large until he gave up that home run. But it was Aaron Nola's night tonight, man. He held him down, and he deserves a lot of love for that game he pitched. There's no question about it.
Also, Nick Castellanos' night hit a 3-run home run off of Justin Verlander, his former teammate when they were both with the Tigers. Here is Nick Castellanos once again in the clubhouse.
Coach, approach you had against Verlander that third? Just what was the key in that inning when you got the home run against him? What was your approach against him? What do you think you wanted to try and do there?
I had a pretty good idea I was going to see an off-speed pitch at some point in the at-bat, and saw that curveball pretty early and hit it well.
When you throw your first pitch fastball and take it, you haven't seen a lot of fastballs, and so you're kind of kicking yourself for a minute?
Not for a minute. That would have been too long, but for a couple seconds for sure.
So when you see a first pitch fastball, you're thinking, are you almost sitting and spin there because?
No doubt. That was just my plan going into the at-bat, and as Dustin Lynn says, sometimes you have to pay your taxes.
You faced him like 15 times in your career. I'm sure,
Sure.
You've seen that curveball. I mean, have there been at-bats against him that you can recall where like you just missed one like that, or was that I guess that curveball that you saw, is that a pitch you haven't been able to do something with the way you were today?
Usually with how hoppy his fastball is, my approach was just to make sure that I'm on time for his heater. This was the first time that, heater was probably secondary to his off-speed stuff, and it worked out.
How have you been able to find success knowing that you're just going to get breaking balls and off-speed pitches all the time? I mean, it's never going to change, I feel like, right? I mean, but you found a way to have success the last few months?
I'm doing the best I can, man.
Anything particular in a change in approach or
I don't know. I think that just the consistency of just my work and stuff has been putting me continuously in a good spot. And then, just trying to do less almost because of the way the game is attacking me is, I don't know if it's still, but a couple weeks ago I see more off-speed pitches than anybody in baseball. I don't know if it's still the same. But, just taking what the game gives me, right?
And do you enjoy hitting more in the middle lineup? I think you've been like 4th and 5th last couple weeks. I mean, is that something important to you? Is that something you like to?
Is it important?
Like to be?
So, is it important to me? It's not important as a sense of like selfish, but knowing my style of hitting, which is always like glorified batting practice, right? Like that I don't really have an approach. I look for the baseball and hit it as hard as I can. Mm-hmm. Having protection behind me usually forces the pitcher to throw to me more when there are people behind me. If I'm on, let's say, like the cliff of the lineup where the power starts to drop off, now the approach is like, well, we don't have to throw this guy a strike. That's hard for me because I don't think I've ever gone to the plate looking to walk.